Okay, so back now. Let's talk about this. Alice, I said I was going to talk about this. The president did not go as far as he did at that fundraiser last week, right? Likening MAGA Republican philosophy to semi-fascism. Do you think he has to be careful with his words? Because do you think this is going to stick? And is he focusing too much on the MAGA wing of the GOP?
He has to be more careful than to call half of the country fascist because, again, he campaigned on and he won and gave an acceptance speech on being the great unifier and lowering the temperature and let's take a big deep breath and I will bring this country together in kumbaya. And here he is being extremely disparaging to many people in this country. Tomorrow night or Thursday night, he's going to have another speech talking about bringing the country together. I will be interested to see what kind of rhetoric he uses for half of the country. But this is classic Joe Biden. When people don't agree with his policies or his administration or his efforts, he resorts to name calling and attacking, and it's just not the way to go, given the fact he is the man that promised to unify this country.
Okay, listen, let's move on now and talk, because we've beaten a dead horse here.
I disagree.
I know.
That says it all right there. It says it all.
You were good.
I just can't. I mean,
actually,
but
go ahead. But I want to move on.
Joe Biden did not call half of America fascist. He said that it goes beyond Trump and it was a philosophy. And it is. And I say to you,
what
Alice,
we're seeing now is the beginning of the death knell of an extreme MAGA philosophy. It's not just Trump. It is the entire philosophy that underpins I'm going to say something. It's like semi-fascism.
So if you think the 2020 election is accurate, if you think that we should teach a comprehensive history of our country, then he wasn't referring to you because you don't believe in that philosophy.
Okay.
But we have to call things out.
Well, let's just go on record. Democrat Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire said he spoke too disparagingly. He painted all Republicans with a broad brush. That is a Democrat who herself had problems with what he said.
So let's move on. So Tara, John laid out the importance of the Pennsylvania midterm elections at the Magic Wall just moments ago. Democrats have a chance to win a Senate seat in the governor's office and the governor's office there. Is this why Pennsylvania is the center of the political universe right now, you think?
Absolutely. Right now we've got a incumbent Republican and incumbent Democrats, two senators split in Pennsylvania. Biden won Pennsylvania by 1 point. Trump fought that and said that, that he believed he won Pennsylvania and called for a recount. It's an incredibly important state. The legislature there at the state level is Republican. So if you have a Republican governor, I mean, anything goes. And Doug Mastriano, who's running, is calling for pretty extreme anti-abortion, policy. And so, yeah, this really matters. The thing that I find to be interesting is that Joe Biden has 3 trips to Pennsylvania, right, in over 5 or 6 days. It makes sense. It's his natural constituency. These towns are labor towns. He's son of Scranton. Maybe it helps with some turnout, but none of these candidates want to campaign with him. They'll be at the same parade with him in Pittsburgh, and Fetterman says, "Oh, I'll talk to him about marijuana policy," but they're not really asking him to come in and
so are they treating him, as my mom would say, with a long handle spoon?
Exactly.
Is that what's,
pretty much.
What's happening?
I think Pennsylvania is a really diverse state, right? So you have Pittsburgh, who is part of the steel mill country, very close to Ohio, which also has a contested Senate race. So I think some of that media will go over into those markets. Then you have the middle of Pennsylvania, which is rural. And I think it's interesting that he picked Wilkes-Barre to go to talk about guns, to say, like, I believe in the Second Amendment, but let's talk about banning assault rifles. And then Philadelphia, where there's a large urban and Black population where you're going to need to drive out turnout. So I think it's really strategic. Also, he's talking about using Philly, the backdrop of our independence and our democracy, to talk about the soul of the country. So I think it's smart is what they're doing.
So Philadelphia actually has 4 syllables instead of 5. I used to live there. It's Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Really?
Okay.
No way.
That's in order.
It does say.
But let me ask you before you get. Is that a smart thing for them to do, to sort of distance themselves from the current president, who's actually over the last couple of weeks have been getting a lot done? I think if you ask, back in 2000 during the whole Clinton thing, and if you ask the Democrats if they should have distanced themselves from Clinton, they would tell you they should not have done that. That was a bad strategy.
I
His
don't.
vice president distancing himself
Yeah.
is what caused him to lose.
I don't think that they are distancing themselves. Look, if a candidate doesn't want people to come, they'll say, please stay out of my state. I think what they're doing, though, is all these candidates need to really keep these races local. This is about people having conversations at their kitchen table. They don't want to nationalize this race. And I've been saying that for a really long time. And I think it goes across the map. Like, people want to know that their senator or their governor is going to represent them and not be a big Washington figure.
Go ahead,
And the
Allison.
bottom line is the Real Clear Politics average shows Joe Biden's approval rating at around 42%. 42%. That's not good. While it is uptick from weeks and months in the past, it's still not good. Fetterman was not there today. He did not show up at this event today. That is a clear indication he wants to distance himself from the president. He is expected to be at one of the other events, but when you're not there, when the president of the United States comes in, that sends a resounding message. And whether or not that is politically strategic for Fetterman's campaign, we will see. Right now, he's up by about 5 points in his race, and whether or not that will continue. I think it's going to hurt him tremendously since he announced today he's not going to participate in a debate with Dr. Oz. That's going to be real telling. In his last 10 weeks, moving to the general election, if he's not going to get on a debate stage, that's going to cost him.
Do you think that's going to hurt him not being in this debate with Dr. Oz?
I do think so, and I think that his health obviously really does matter. And while the Oz campaign has been tactless in how they've attacked him for it, I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's a gamble for a lot of voters because they don't know what kind of health condition he is. And he's done a remarkable job doing a digital campaign, paid advertisements. He's done very limited.
How long can you do that without?
Exactly. I think you have to eventually, the voters want to see you. They want to see you debate. But, he's not the only person running for office who doesn't want to debate right now.
But isn't it, I'm sure, and I think they've been doing it, they've been sort of dipping their toe in the water to criticize Fetterman for, his health condition, right? To sort of use it, to capitalize on it. But they've got to be really careful with that.
Absolutely. I mean, look, there are plenty of reasons to go after Fetterman on policy and his record. You don't need to go after his health. And the key thing moving forward, he has run a tremendous digital and video campaign, which is fine. But come Labor Day weekend, it is off to the races through the election, and he needs to get out there and grip and grab.
I mean, I think that the Oz campaign did more than dip their toe in the water. They made a pretty big splash and distasteful talking about eating vegetables to Fetterman. I think.
Well, that was his campaign representative who said that, right? And then he said, you would have thought they would have learned their lesson. From that.
But I still think, I hope Fetterman can get back. I hope his health is stable. I hope maybe they would have a doctor come out and talk to them to reassure voters. But he does need to get on the campaign trail if he can.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I love this conversation. This was great. Thanks. This is the way people talk at home, don't you think?
Exactly.
Yes.
Around
Right?
the kitchen
Civilized.
table.
It's civilized, but challenging.
Yes,
Yeah. And there are food,
respectful.
and there's no food to throw, so we're good.
Exactly.
No
Or
food
no
fights.
wine glasses
No
to
ketchup
throw.
to throw up against the wall.